Hi everybody, my name's Tori and today I'm going to be going through some of the products in our combination coat pet packs. A combination coat is a coat that is made up of longer areas and shorter areas. It is the longer areas that do need a lot more maintenance in terms of grooming, the shorter areas do need less maintenance. Examples of combination coat types could be Golden Retrievers and Cocker Spaniels. The first product I'm going to be talking about is the Groom Professional Wonder Coat Spray. Now this is what it says on the tin. This really is wonderful for the dog's coat. So it's going to add some instant shine and condition. This is ultimately going to help in sort of dematting and detangling as well. And it is a product that we would say you definitely need to use alongside brushing. So you would just spray this on the coat before you brush, run the brush through it ever so lightly, and then it's just going to mean that it's going to penetrate through the hair and make the whole process of brushing your dog a lot easier. It also smells really nice as well. So it's just a really good product to have to keep the maintenance of your dog's coat really good. So a hygiene product that I'm going to talk about is the Groom Professional Ear Wipes. So these are a really strong wipe. They're made up of the Groom Professional Ear Wash, but it's just in a much easier format to use. So there's going to be no spillage, no waste, nothing like that you have to worry about. You also get 50 wipes in this tub, so you're going to get plenty of use out of one of these tubs. And they're just a really good product to have on hand to keep the maintenance and hygiene of your dog's ears really good, especially when they're not going to be seeing the groomers. So with having a combination coat and having your longer coat areas, they are a lot softer in comparison to maybe where the shorter areas are. So something like a curved, soft slicker brush like this one from Groom Professional is going to be really good just to have on hand for your everyday grooming. So as you can see, it's got your curved base, which is just making everything a lot easier to use for you, and it's a lot more comfortable for the dog. The base gives the pins a lot of flexibility in moving around, so you know that you're not going to be pulling the dog's coat or hurting them. And yeah, just a really good tool to have on hand, like I say, for everyday grooming, to brush out those areas and make sure you're not going to get any knots or tangles. And we would say to definitely, if you are going to be doing this, use something like the Wonder Coat Spray too, just to avoid any breakage or any damage to the coat. Onto a tool. So these are the Groom Professional nail clippers. Now these come in two different sizes. You get small and you get large. These are the small ones. Now these are super handy just to sort of have, if you are wanting to start and maybe look after your dog's nails, if they are growing quite quickly and it's maybe causing them some discomfort. So these are really good. They are veterinary standard and they have this little safety catch here on the side, which is just good to have, especially if you're going to be using them and they're maybe like lying on the floor. Just put the wee catch on and you know that the wee blades are not going to be accessible. So yeah, really comfortable to use, really easy to use. If you have two dogs in your household, one larger and one smaller, we would always say to go for the smaller clippers. It's just, you can use the small clippers on the smaller dog and you can also use the small on the larger dog. You just have to apply more pressure. If it was to be the other way around and you used large on a small dog, you would end up hurting them. So just always go for the smaller size if you have two dogs in your household. But yeah, another really good tool to have on hand for sort of keeping up the maintenance if your dog can't see the groomer. So another really cool tool that we have is the Groom Professional Mat Splitter. Now as you can see by the shape of this has a little blade here in the inside and it's got a padded area for you to hold your hand. Now dematting is something that takes a lot of practice to get right, especially for professional groomers when they're doing it. But this little tool kind of makes it a wee bit easier for you if you're doing it at home. You do have to be super careful when you're using it, especially when you're using it maybe near ears or folds or tails, just because you do have that blade there and you don't want to hurt the dog at all. But it's a really easy wee tool to use. You can just wiggle this wee bit in through and the blade should cut through the mat, so it just makes it a bit easier. But this would only really be used if the mats are really bad and you can't work it out with a brush or maybe a sort of an undercoat rake or a dematting tool in that way. Then you would use one of these mat splitters. Another tool that's really good for keeping up the general maintenance and look of your dog's coat are the coat rakes. So I've got two different ones here. I've got one that the blades are spaced further apart and then I've got one that the blades are spaced closer together. So we would say that if you've got a dog that's got longer or softer coats, use the one that has the pins or the blades closer together, and if it's got a slightly thicker coat, then use the one that's got the blades spaced further apart. So you'll know yourself, depending on what your dog's coat type type which one to use. But these are fantastic for just getting into the undercoat, pulling out any sort of excess hair, maybe getting rid of any hair that's ready to sort of shed, and yeah, just a really good maintenance tool. You should always use these in the direction that the hair grows. Never ever use them the opposite way, because you will break the coat and you might end up balding the dog if you do it too often. So only use these about once a week. So the next product is the Groom Professional Water Magnet Towel. Now this literally does what it says on the tin. This just drinks up all of the sort of solution or water or liquid, whether it's on your dog or maybe if you've spilled it. It's really good to aid in the drying process. So if you are finding that it's harder to dry your dog whenever it gets out of the bath or shower, using one of these is just going to help quicken up the process for you and the dog. They're really easy to use. You just use it like a normal towel and it just soaks up all that water. So yeah, it just aids in making everything so much easier and so much quicker. Definitely a product that I would say everybody that has a dog should have. And the final product that I'm going to talk about is the Groom Professional Medio 6-inch safety scissors. So these are a safety scissor because they have a slight loop at the top and they are bulkier. This just means that for the likes of students or maybe dog owners that have never used a pair of scissors on their dog before, it gives them that confidence in making sure that they're not going to poke the dog and hurt them whenever they're cutting. So these are really good to have for cutting maybe round eyes if the fur or the coat is dropping a wee bit over their eyes, maybe in round ears or around their paws or anything like that. So yeah, really good to have. They're made of stainless steel too, so you know that they're going to be a really good quality in terms of just doing little tiny jobs on your dog. I really hope that that quick overview of some products that we would recommend for combination coats was helpful. If you want any more information on the products that I've talked about or you want to check out the rest of them, just click down below.